I'm Jane Arnold-Foster. I can't remember a life without vintage cars. I was born into a family with an Anzani Fraser-Nash and then a 5-litre Delage. My parents used to go on race meetings mainly on their own, but I have very fond memories of Prescott Hill Climb and of the light car events because we kids were allowed on those. I first got into vintage cars on my own when my parents got me an Austin 7. I was expected to pull it apart and rebuild it. My father, bless him, left me to it with the ringing words, "Don't undo any unnecessary nuts," which is really hard when you don't know what a necessary nut is from an unnecessary nut. I'm afraid I pulled it apart and then went travelling for a year, by which time he got bored with it on the garage floor and it had been rebuilt. My cars were that Austin 7, which I subsequently sold for a 1925 1250 Elvis, which I had many years of fun in. I also used to race Sandy Skinner's wooden Austin for many, many years, which was just terrific and really kind of him to lend it to me, and goes with the club's ethos of encouraging younger people. I sold my vintage cars, I'm afraid, in my 40s and bought an Austin Healey, which I used to rally. During my very active period when I was with VSCC, I think I competed in every single event, including Shelsley in an Austin 7. Again, my father gave me Raymond May's account of ascending in an ERA. I have to admit the wooden car didn't have as many corners. There were 2 at the top, but nothing else. I used to maintain my own Austin 7 as much as I could. I got to the point where I could change the gearbox in 2 hours, and I just had the very best time with some really wonderful people, trialling, racing, sprinting, hill climbing. They were good years. Now I am the very, very happy owner of the Anzani Fraser-Nash. My mother and I spent 10 very happy years rallying it, and I now go on holiday in it and rally it on my own. It's so good to see so many women now out there in their cars, racing them, having fun, and producing the next generation who are also spilling out of Austin 7s at light car events and continuing the tradition of women racing in the VSCC.